We are now being joined by Sergej Sumileny, defense expert and director, European Resilience Initiative Center, and he's joining us live from Berlin. Thanks very much for taking our time and joining us on WION, Mr. Sumileny.
Thank you for the invitation.
Right. Now, as Israel continues bombing Gaza, tensions are escalating on Israel's northern border with Lebanon. Not only this, Israel has also seen attacks from other Iran-backed groups in Syria. Clearly, there are growing concerns of a multi-pronged war and a spillover of the Israel-Hamas conflict in West Asia.
Well, indeed, Israel faces, for the first time since 50 years, since the war in 1973, a mass attack from all directions into its very small territory. This is, I'm afraid, the biggest threat for the Israel state since decades. And here, once again, those experts and me among them, I get confirmed in our ideas, which we expressed in the first hours of this attack of Israel against of Hamas against Israel, that the level of brutality, the violence, and the way how it was filmed and broadcasted online was actually done on purpose to provoke Israel's mass response against Hamas in Gaza. Of course, this would lead to casualties also among civilians. Then the wave of protests and violence all over the world will start with the attacks on Israel embassies, on the US American embassies. Jewish businesses in Germany, for instance, have been attacked. Jewish people in Germany have been attacked. And this is a start of a multi-level, multi-direction attack on Israel. Then Syria, Lebanon, and other groups, Iran, of course, will be happy to join this. So those who planned this attack of Hamas against Israel early October, like 2 weeks ago, they understood it very precisely that they want to start a large war, and they wanted to start this war, and they have done everything to ignite it.
Yes, Mr. Sumileny, also just adding another point to what you said. The Israeli Prime Minister has also clearly said that Hezbollah will make a major mistake of its life, a grave mistake, if it starts a war with Israel. Extremely concerning at the moment. But also, the Pentagon has said that it is now deploying additional air defense systems through West Asia in response to recent escalations, 2 US aircraft carriers, and now this. My question to you is that, is this deterrence, or does it actually go further than that?
Well, I think for Israel, the best scenario is now to demonstrate that much force to keep both Hezbollah and other groups in Lebanon or in Syria from attack, like showing off the power, the muscles, and saying, look, if you attack us, you will not like the outcome. And this is the best way to win the war, to prevent it by demonstrating your strength. Right, to say, I'm aware of that, I'm ready to strike back, and you better don't strike me, because otherwise you will have consequences. But of course, like the presence of US American strike groups like air carriers is a fact of deterrence too. But I'm really afraid that those who plan these attacks, they're not sitting in Gaza, they're not sitting in Lebanon, or not sitting in Damascus, they're sitting in Tehran, in Iran. They are partly sitting in Moscow. We know that Moscow transferred millions of dollars just days before the attack to Hamas. The Hamas webpage has been hosted in Moscow. Moscow joined this Hamas attack by propaganda campaign. So these puppeteers in Tehran and in Moscow, they're not afraid of retaliation. They're ready to sacrifice both Hamas and Hezbollah about igniting a large-scale war in the Middle East. That is what I'm afraid. They don't care how much, how much Palestinians will die, how much people in Lebanon will die, or in Syria. They want to see a big war starting, and they're doing everything in Tehran and Moscow to ignite this war.
Last question to Mr. Sumileny. With formation of Israeli tanks and other military equipment around the Gaza border, the threat of a ground invasion is imminent at the moment. But talk to us about the challenges that the IDF faces for a ground incursion.
Well, Israel has already faced the worst casualties since decades. Like over thousands of people have died, civilians mostly. But of course, any ground offensive is connected to a lot of casualties within the army. And we know how hard Israel takes casualties into consideration. The problem for Israel, the dilemma is they are in a dead end. They cannot ignore the challenges. They must react. But any reaction leads to further escalation and to further suffering and to diplomatic problems worldwide. So that is the problem. They're stuck in it. Of course, they cannot be ignorant and leave it without reaction and don't react. But their reactions just add some fuel into this war. That is the problem of their situation now.
Well, absolutely, Mr. Soumleni. Thanks very much for joining us on WION and sharing your insights with us on this story. We'll, of course, be tracking this very closely here on WION.
Thank you so much.